The gentle giant. Once upon a time, in the picturesque village of Eldergrove, a shadow cast long beneath the sun was not a portent of dread but rather the silhouette of Eldrin, the gentle giant. Standing 10 feet tall, Eldrin was a fixture in the village, his towering presence a source of awe for some and fear for others. Each morning, as the dawn's light spilled gold across the cobblestone streets and fragrant gardens, he could be found tending to his beloved plants, his massive hands stroking the petals of vibrant flowers that bloomed in his care. Despite his warmth, Eldrin's heart bore a weight, one that came from the isolation his size imposed upon him. The village bustled with life, filled with laughter and chatter, yet as Eldrin walked the familiar paths, he often felt like a spectator peering through a glass window. Villagers would greet him with nervous smiles, their children lingering just out of reach, no doubt haunted by stories of giants and monsters. While the little ones admired him from a distance, the adults whispered hushed tones of caution. Eldrin had grown accustomed to their glances, often softening them with a gentle wave and a warm smile, but the ache in his heart persisted. On his way to the heart of Eldergrove, he noticed a group of children playing by the riverbank, their laughter ringing like a chime in the breeze. He paused for a moment, holding his breath as he watched them race and tumble among the wildflowers, their innocence a balm to his spirit. Eldrin longed to join them, to feel the flutter of youthful joy, but the fear in their eyes always held him back. Instead, he turned away, making his way to the village marketplace, where the scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the air. As he entered the bustling square, merchants called out their wares, and the villagers went about their daily routines. Eldrin focused on his task, delivering large sacks of flour to the baker, an errand that showcased his strength. As he approached, the baker's brow furrowed, a slight tremor in his hands betraying his unease. "Morning, Eldrin," the baker said with a forced smile, his voice shaky. Eldrin felt a familiar knot of sadness grip his heart. The baker's kindness was tinged with apprehension, reminding him of the invisible wall that separated them. "Good morning," Eldrin replied, his voice deep and melodic, filled with warmth. He hoisted the flour sack onto the counter with ease, offering a cheerful nod. The baker thanked him repeatedly and steered clear, just like the villagers who rushed past him on the cobbles, avoiding lingering too long in Eldrin's shadow. As he turned to leave, Eldrin's eyes caught sight of one person who never shied away from him. It was Leora, the spirited herbalist known for her wild mane of red hair and bright smile. She danced through the marketplace like a ray of sunshine, her laughter blending seamlessly with the symphony of the morning. "Eldrin," she called, her green eyes sparkling with mischief. "You're just in time for the fresh herbs. Come, we must discuss the garden today." For Eldrin, preconditions melted away in Leora's presence. Her ease with him felt like a sweet balm, bridging the divide that the rest of the village seemed unwilling to cross. He made his way to her stall, heart lifting at the sight of the brightly colored herbs and wildflowers she had lovingly arranged. "Have you ever seen such beauty?" Leora exclaimed, picking up a cluster of lavender. "It's a reminder that even the smallest things can leave the largest impact." She winked, her spirit infectious. The echo of her laughter filled the air as Eldrin leaned closer, fascinated by her passion. Their conversations were fluid and free, untethered by the world's judgments outside their bubble. He delighted in the way she spoke about the healing properties of plants, and how she used them to help others. As they explored the scents and colors, Leora spoke of her dreams. A garden that would provide all her fellow villagers with blooms and remedies, a haven of beauty where everyone could feel welcome. There was something undeniably refreshing in her vision, and Eldrin felt a stirring within him, a yearning to be part of it. "Can you help me?" Leora asked, her voice sincere. "With your strength, we can create something extraordinary together." Eldrin's heart soared. He had longed to feel included, to make a difference in the only home he had ever known. Leora's challenge ignited a glimmer of hope deep within him, proof that perhaps he could bridge the chasm between himself and the world. "Absolutely," he declared, determination crystal clear in his voice. "Together, we will bring the garden to life." With a renewed sense of purpose, Eldrin and Leora began to sketch their plans, painting their dreams in the vibrant colors of blossoming hope. Little did they know, the bond they were forming would challenge not only their own perceptions but those of the entire village, redefining what it meant to be different in a world that often feared what it did not understand. Together, they were ready to cultivate not just a garden, but a friendship that could bloom in the hearts of all who bore witness. A spark of curiosity. Leora had always been known as the village's spirited herbalist, a title she wore like a badge of honor. Her days were filled with the earthy scents of vibrant herbs, the enchanting allure of flowers, and the whispered wisdom of nature. Each morning at dawn, she would slip into the whispering woods, feeling alive among the rustling leaves and chirping birds, gathering plants that would go on to heal both body and spirit. This particular morning, the morning sun bathed the forest in a warm golden light, glistening off the dew-kissed leaves. Leora hummed a soft tune as she filled her basket with wild thyme, sweet clover, and delicate daisies. The tranquility of the woods was familiar and comforting, yet the thought of Eldrin lingered at the edge of her mind. She had grown curious about the gentle giant, the way he tended to his flowers with an almost tender reverence that captivated her. After finishing her gathering, Leora decided to venture deeper into the woods, her heart fluttering at the thought of seeing Eldrin again. She had never been afraid of him. His size, often a barrier for others, was simply a part of who he was. In fact, she found it rather fascinating, much like the stories of old that spoke of giants guarding treasures. She remembered the way his eyes sparkled when he spoke of planting and nurturing, a gentle spirit encased in an imposing frame. As she approached Eldrin's garden, the fragrant blooms welcomed her like a chorus of whispers. The colorful flowers danced in the gentle breeze, embodying the very essence of Eldrin's nurturing nature. Standing at the edge of his garden, she awed at the vivid colors and the harmonious arrangement of plants. It looked almost magical. Eldrin was there, kneeling by a patch of daisies, his enormous hands delicately pinching the leaves. The sun cast a warm glow around him, turning his silhouette into that of a gentle giant among blossoms. Leora felt drawn to him, as if she were a moth fluttering towards the light. "Eldrin," she called, her voice bright and full of enthusiasm. He turned, a wave of surprise washing over him before breaking into a broad smile that illuminated his face. "Leora, what brings you here today?" "I wanted to bring a few herbs to help you with your garden." Her eyes sparkled with eagerness. "And I thought we could maybe plan something together? I've seen your flowers. They absolutely thrive under your care. It's inspiring." Leora stepped closer, presenting her basket of freshly gathered herbs, her fingers brushing against the soft petals of nearby flowers. Eldrin stood, towering yet somehow approachable, his delight visible in the way he leaned closer, peering into her basket. "What have you got there?" His face shone with genuine curiosity, and for a moment, the size difference between them seemed to dissolve in the warmth of their connection. "Some thyme, clovers, and a few daisies," she replied, her voice a melody dancing through the air. "We could add them to your garden, create a place where people come to find solace and heal." Eldrin's expression shifted, a flicker of hesitation crossing his features. "I've never thought of sharing my garden like that," he admitted, scratching the back of his head, an endearing gesture that made Leora giggle. "People don't tend to visit me." "But that's just it," Leora exclaimed excitedly. "Your garden has the potential to be a sanctuary for everyone, just like it is for you. We can create a community space, a place where people can learn to appreciate not only the beauty but the healing power of plants." Eldrin pondered this idea, his brow furrowing in thought. The notion terrified yet intrigued him. What if they are still afraid of me? Even if they come for the flowers, they'll see I'm different. Then let's show them that different can be beautiful. Leora encouraged, her voice full of conviction. "We can host gatherings here, teach others about the herbs and flowers. You have so much knowledge to share, Eldrin." His gaze shifted to the ground, absorbed in the idea for a moment. The thought of it exhilarated him, yet uncertainty gnawed at him beneath the surface. However, Leora's infectious enthusiasm began to spark a daring flame within him, igniting a yearning to reach beyond his fears. "Would you really help me with this?" he finally asked, vulnerability lacing his tone. "I wouldn't know where to start." "Of course." Leora laughed, her laughter like a stream bubbling over rocks. "We'll start small, tiny gatherings by the garden, inviting villagers slowly, showing them what beauty lies within this space. It could be our secret at first. Just us and some beautiful plants." As they collaborated, the merging of their visions began to paint a vivid picture. A garden that could blossom into a community heart. Together, they crafted plans for the space around them, breathing life into their dreams with every suggestion. The more they discussed, the more Eldrin felt the walls of isolation that had surrounded him for so long begin to crumble. Before long, they had sketched out ideas for planting, events to host, and even a map of Eldrin's garden. Leora's excitement was contagious, and Eldrin found himself caught in the rhythm of it all, dreaming of something he had long thought impossible. Under the warm sun, they laughed and envisioned a space filled with vibrant colors where stories were shared, friendships were formed, and different could truly be a part of something grand and beautiful. In that moment, the spark of curiosity they shared ignited a flame of hope. An adventure blossomed, setting them on a journey toward connection and acceptance that neither had ever anticipated. Breaking barriers. The days that followed were filled with an electric sense of possibility. Eldrin and Leora met each morning in the garden, plotting their plans under the gentle touch of dawn. Each session breathed life into their dream of a community space that would welcome all, a sanctuary where flowers would bloom alongside budding friendships. Word began to spread. Rumors danced through the cobbled paths of Eldergrove, whispering of the giant's garden becoming an oasis. Villagers cast curious glances towards the pathway that led to Eldrin's abode, their hearsay mingling with excitement and skepticism. Some were intrigued by the prospect of flowers and healing, while others let fear cloud their imaginations. Eldrin, occasionally catching fragments of their conversations, felt a mix of anticipation and dread. He still recalled the shying looks that followed him every day, but Leora's vibrant spirit stoked the embers of his courage. Each tentative suggestion she made solidified his conviction that perhaps, just perhaps, he could embrace the changes within himself and the village. "I think we should invite the villagers for an open garden day," Leora proposed one sunlit morning, cradling a basket filled with fresh herbs. "A time when they can come, see the beauty of the plants, and learn a little about the healing properties of each one." Eldrin's heart raced. Excitement wrestled with anxiety. What if they refuse to come? Or worse, what if they see me and get scared? His voice trembled with nervousness, but Leora clasped his hand with warmth and certainty. "They may come first out of curiosity," she assured him. "But if we show them the beauty within this space, and the beauty within you, they will be drawn to it. You have a gift, Eldrin, and it deserves to be shared." After a moment of contemplation that felt like eternity, he nodded, resolve settling like the morning dew. "Let's do it. Let's invite them to see what we've created together." Within a week, word of the first garden gathering spread through the village like wildfire. Leora circulated hand-painted invitations, vibrant feathers catching the wind as they flitted from hand to hand. Each invitation bore a simple message: join us at Eldrin's garden for a day of friendship, healing, and flowers. The day of the gathering dawned bright and promising. Eldrin stood in his garden, his heart pounding as he looked around at the vibrant blooms, each one a testament to his care. The flowers danced in the gentle sunlight, welcoming the fresh morning. Leora appeared beside him, radiant in a dress adorned with sunflowers, her spirit electric with anticipation. "Today is the day," she said, her infectious energy reclaiming the excitement that had flickered within Eldrin. As the hour approached, villagers began to trickle into the garden. Eldrin's towering form loomed at the entrance, his hands tucked nervously into the deep pockets of his earthy brown trousers. Tension coursed through him as he watched them approach with tentative steps. He could see the divide between their excitement and hesitation. Leora stepped forward, her natural charisma guiding the way. "Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us." Eldrin took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage he could muster, and followed her lead. "I'm glad you could come," he managed, his voice steadying with each word. "The flowers. They're here for you all to see." A few villagers hesitated, eyeing him with uncertainty, yet slowly, curiosity began to soften their apprehensions. Children wandered forward, drawn by the colors, tugging at their parents' hands, and the adults began to relax, their initial trepidation waning. Together, Leora and Eldrin guided them from flower to flower, sharing knowledge of each plant's healing properties, their hands working in harmony as they crafted an atmosphere of wonder. Eldrin's deep voice rose and fell as he learned to share not just his knowledge but also his warm-hearted spirit with the visitors. Much to his delight, laughter erupted as children explored more intrepidly, approaching him with wide eyes, while Eldrin knelt to meet them at eye level. Their innocence and unfiltered joy painted over the lingering shadows of fear. For the first time, he felt as if he belonged, not as a daunting figure but as someone who possessed wisdom and love for the earth. "Can you pick me up?" one brave child piped up, eyes glittering with excitement. Eldrin blinked in surprise, glancing at Leora for guidance. She nodded encouragingly, and without hesitation, he scooped the child up, lifting him high above the flowers amidst enthusiastic giggles, instantly evaporating any remnants of fear. Eldrin's laughter boomed, echoing through the garden like a joyful melody. As more villagers gathered, an atmosphere of festivity unfurled. The scent of herbs mingling with the laughter of children began to weave a tapestry of acceptance. Eldrin saw their interactions transform. Doubts that once bound them began to loosen, revealing smiles and newfound connections. Amidst it all, Leora's eyes sparkled in appreciation of what they had built together. Eldrin felt a shift, a breakthrough not only with the villagers but also within himself. This day was not merely an event, it was a symbolic fracturing of barriers that had kept them all apart. As the sun began to wane, casting a warm golden glow over the garden, Leora approached Eldrin with pride glowing in her gaze. "You did it!" she exclaimed, her voice filled with joy. "You took a leap beyond your fears, and look at the magic it created." Eldrin looked around, taking in the smiles, the connection blooming like the very flowers that surrounded them. A sense of warmth enveloped him, the walls he had built around his heart crumbling with every laugh and shared moment. For the first time in his life, he felt seen and valued, not for his size but for the gentle strength he offered. "This is only the beginning," he replied, his voice steady with newfound determination. "If we can break down these walls, imagine what else we could build together." Leora nodded, her excitement infectious. Together, they had sparked a flame of curiosity that had ignited bold futures, and with it came the promise of connection. The day closed with the dawning realization that change was possible, and together, they could nurture not only the garden but the hearts of Eldergrove, opening doors to a brighter tomorrow. The Garden of Dreams. Days turned into weeks, and the energy from the first garden gathering lingered like a sweet perfume in the air of Eldergrove. The villagers had begun to explore the wonder of Eldrin's garden and the magic of plants, crafting an appreciation for the beauty surrounding them. Gradually, Eldrin found himself warmed by their presence, transforming his haven into a vibrant tapestry of life. Leora had become a steadfast companion, and their friendship blossomed alongside the flowers they nurtured. Each morning, they met to work on their shared vision, discussing new ideas and further gathering knowledge about the plants that thrived within the garden. Eldrin reveled in every moment, no longer the lonely giant that he once believed himself to be. However, the idea of expanding their garden project lingered in the air like a dream waiting to unfold. One fateful afternoon, Leora arrived at the garden with her hair bright against the sun and her eyes sparkling with excitement, clutching sketches in her hands. "Eldrin," she called, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "I've been thinking. What if we create a special area in the garden dedicated to dreams and aspirations? A place where people can come to reflect, share, and grow." Eldrin's heart raced at her words. "A dream garden," he whispered, his gaze drifting over the swaying blossoms. "What would it look like?" Leora laid the sketches on the ground between them, revealing an intricate design. "We'll have a circle of stones, representing unity, with benches under the tallest trees for shade. Each person can plant a flower or a herb that symbolizes their dreams," she elaborated passionately. "As they grow, they'll remind us of the hopes we carry." Eldrin's mind swirled with possibilities. "That sounds beautiful, Leora. But what if no one wants to share their dreams? What if they're too afraid?" "I believe they will," she replied confidently, her hand resting on his forearm. "You have this incredible gift to connect with them. Your journey has already inspired so many. Imagine the knowledge and dreams that can blossom here." Heartbeat quickened, he gazed at the new vision before him. A place where people could freely express their hearts was something he'd yearned for silently. "Let's do it," he said, resolutely. "Let's create the Garden of Dreams." In the days that followed, Leora and Eldrin set to work, their energies fused in an exhilarating dance. The garden thrummed with anticipation as they broke ground on the new area. Villagers, noticing their efforts, began to join in, drawn by the infectious spirit of the project. Each person contributed, adding stones they found during their walks, painting them with colorful symbols representing their dreams. Eldrin's immense stature proved advantageous, allowing him to lift boulders and erect the benches as Leora orchestrated the design. Together they laughed and worked side by side, creating not just a physical space but also weaving deeper connections with the villagers. Little by little, the garden grew into something sacred, a place buzzing with hope and camaraderie. On the day they officially dedicated the Garden of Dreams, Eldrin and Leora stood side by side, awash in sunlight. Leora's voice chimed like a silver bell as she addressed the gathering crowd. "Welcome, everyone. Today, we honor our dreams and the connections that bind us together. This garden will be a testament to our hopes, a symbol of our unity." Eldrin watched as faces brightened, smiles blossoming like flowers. The villagers stepped forward, planting their dreams into the earth, a collection of flowers to represent everything from friendship, love, to adventure and healing. Their individual aspirations intertwined like roots beneath the surface, reinforcing the very soil they nurtured together. "May these dreams grow strong and vibrant," Leora added, her hand resting on Eldrin's arm for support. "Let this garden be a reminder of who we are and what we can become." As the villagers planted their flowers, Eldrin felt a swell of pride. The tension within him eased, the landscape transformed, much like his heart. He had become a cornerstone of the village and a caretaker of the dreams that unfurled within the petals. As they celebrated, the sun dipped low in the sky, stretching its warm rays across the gathering. Laughter echoed through the garden, intertwining with the sweet scent of blooming dreams. It was a sight that stirred something deep within Eldrin, a sense of belonging he had never thought possible. In the following weeks, the Garden of Dreams flourished as the flowers began to take root, growing vibrant and colorful, each blossom unique. Leora worked steadily alongside Eldrin as they nurtured each plant, mirroring the growing connections among the village. Together they hosted gatherings every week, where stories of dreams were exchanged beneath the swaying branches. Eldrin found himself sharing not only his knowledge of gardening but also his own dreams, something he had long kept locked away. He spoke of wanting to create a world where everyone felt safe, a place where kindness reigned. Leora stood by his side, her presence uplifting, cheering him on as he found strength in vulnerability. Despite the love blossoming around him, Eldrin knew that darkness sometimes lurked beneath the petals. Though the dreams shared in the garden were beautiful, he still feared what might happen if doubts and hesitations took root within them. Leora sensed his struggles, often finding moments to offer reassurances that bolstered his confidence. "Eldrin, remember, the garden, much like life, thrives on the balance between beauty and adversity. Embrace both, and you'll find wisdom in both joy and challenge." One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Eldrin leaned against a sturdy oak tree, watching the sky transform into a canvas of oranges and pinks. "What do you dream about, Leora?" he asked suddenly, unsure if it was the right moment for such a personal inquiry. Her eyes sparkled, and she smiled softly. "I wish for a world filled with understanding, where love and kindness flow freely, much like the flowers in this garden." She paused, glancing at him with sincerity. "I want to see a world where people can embrace their differences and turn them into strengths." Eldrin felt vulnerable under her gaze, but he nodded, appreciating the beauty of her aspiration. He wondered if, perhaps, building the garden had helped create the seeds of that world they both dreamed about. A sanctuary where heartbreak transformed into blooms, and every whispered hope blossomed into reality. As darkness fell and stars began to twinkle above, Eldrin and Leora stood amidst the beauty they had created. With dreams injected into the earth, they had forged more than a garden. They'd nurtured friendships and hearts, laying the foundation for a village that would continue to grow, opening itself to the endless possibilities that awaited. Together, they had fostered a legacy of dreams that would forever remind Eldrin of the strength found within vulnerability, warmth, and connection. Whispers of doubt. As summer wove its gentle embrace around Eldergrove, the Garden of Dreams flourished under the diligent care of Eldrin and Leora. The flowers, each representing a unique aspiration, swayed in the warm breeze, a vibrant patchwork of hope that painted the landscape with life. The villagers had come to cherish this space, gathering weekly to share their stories and support one another, creating a tapestry of connections that glimmered with warmth. Yet, amidst the laughter and camaraderie, a whisper began to seep through the village, a murmur that hinted at skepticism. Eldrin noticed the flickers of worry in people's faces, their laughter tinged with uncertainty. Small jokes about the giant and his peculiar garden floated around the marketplace, soft but insistent, like the persistent hum of insects in the air. One evening, after a particularly vibrant gathering, Leora sensed the tension swirling around Eldrin. As they walked through the garden, now drenched in the cool glow of twilight, she observed his silence, the way his shoulders seemed to carry an invisible weight. "What's on your mind, Eldrin?" Leora asked gently, her fingers brushing against a cluster of moonflowers unfurling in the moonlight. He paused, staring into the shadows, where the garden's beauty faded into darkness. "I can feel it, Leora. The whispers have begun, distrust unfurling like weeds, creeping in among the dreams. What if they decide this garden is just a folly? What if they turn away from me?" Leora's heart sank. She had sensed the shift, too, the small murmurs that scraped against the fabric of their community, but she had hoped the strength of their dreams would drown out the doubt. "Eldrin, the garden represents hope and connection. What we have built together is beautiful. There will always be whispers when something new emerges, but the strength lies in ensuring they don't overshadow the light we've created here." Eldrin frowned, brushing his fingers across a row of petals as if searching for answers. "It just feels fragile. I've been the subject of fear for so long. What if this time, the doubts stem from something deeper?" Leora stepped closer, her eyes shimmering in the fading light. "You have already changed lives, Eldrin. You can't control how others perceive you, but you can lead with your heart. Remember the laughter of the children? The joy of those who planted their dreams? That light outweighs the whispers." Just as she spoke, a couple of villagers wandered by, their voices low but unmistakable. "Why do they keep bothering with that garden? It's just nonsense." One scoffed. "I hear Eldrin thinks he can change everything just because he's hosting some gatherings." Familiar pangs of hurt twisted within Eldrin as he caught snippets of the conversation. Leora noticed his gaze harden, his face tightening into a mask of disappointment. "Eldrin, don't let their words take root in your heart," she urged. "We must focus on those who believe. We are more than the whispers of doubt." The days that followed turned heavy under the weight of uncertainty. While Eldrin plastered on a brave face during gatherings, he could feel the undercurrent of skepticism creeping through the community. In hushed tones, rumors sprouted that questioned his intentions, whether he was truly just a gentle giant or if there was something more ominous underlying his carefully tended garden. Leora strove to keep spirits high, organizing activities that welcomed creative expression in the garden. They painted stones, decorated flower pots, and even created calming meditation spaces where people could come to reflect. Some of the villagers participated, inspired by Leora's zest for life, but others hung back, casting wary glances at the giant who loomed over the flowers. One afternoon, after a particularly uninspired gathering, Eldrin hesitated to join Leora as she prepared some new herbs. "What if I step back from this for now?" he ventured, his voice barely a whisper. She looked at him sharply, eyes wide with disbelief. "No. Eldrin, this is your garden. Our garden. Turning away won't make the whispers disappear. We need to show the village it's more than just soil and plants. It's about community, love, and dreams. But how can I convince them my heart is pure when they can only see me as a perplexing curiosity?" He sighed, sorrow hanging thick in the air. "I wish I could change their minds." Leora gently placed a hand on his arm. "You can't change what others believe about you, but you can continue to be the person you know you are. Show them kindness, and it will take root in their hearts." Despite Leora's encouragement, Eldrin's resolve faltered. Fear lurked beneath his surface, threatening the kindness he had forged in the garden. Still, he tried his best to move forward, determined to diffuse the tension brewing in the shadows. But the weight of doubt grew. Each time laughter rang through the garden, it felt as if a shadow loomed in the corner of his vision. He ached to protect that laughter, to ensure it remained untainted by the whispers swirling beyond their sanctuary. One evening, while he prepared to close the garden for the night, Eldrin heard a quiet sobbing sound. He followed the noise into a secluded corner, his heart heavy. To his surprise, he found a young girl sitting by one of the flower beds, tears glistening on her cheeks. "What's wrong, little one?" he asked gently, kneeling to her level. I was too scared to share my dream today," she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if they laugh at me? What if they think I'm silly?" Her vulnerability struck a chord within Eldrin. He felt a familiar ache settle deep in his chest. It's okay to feel scared, he reassured her. Every dream matters, even if it feels small. This garden is a safe place for you to share it. You won't be alone. As he spoke, he recognized the powerful insights tied to dreams and fears. The whispers around him were merely echoes of their own insecurities. I promise you, I am here. We are all here to support one another. The girl glanced up at him, her eyes reflecting the moonlight. You really think so? I know so, he replied, offering her a warm smile. Take your time. And when you're ready, we will listen to every special word. Her face brightened, a glimmer of hope blossoming within her. He realized then that through each interaction, tiny seeds of courage were being sown. With every shared dream, a fortification against the whispers of doubt would arise. As he stood there, watching the girl wipe her tears away, Eldrin felt a flicker of resolve spark deep within him. Perhaps the path forward lay in nurturing not just the garden, but also the hearts around him. Together, through vulnerability and honesty, they could heal the cracks left by doubt, ensuring the laughter never faltered and hope blossomed even amidst uncertainty. Love beyond appearances. The whispers that had troubled Eldrin began to quiet, but the remnants of doubt still echoed in his heart. That evening, he stood in the Garden of Dreams, the soft glow of twilight casting enchanting shadows across the flowers. Each petal bloomed vibrantly, a representation of every hope he cherished. But deep down, he struggled to shake the fear that somehow, he might still be seen as a curiosity rather than a beloved member of the village. As he tended to the flowers, Leora arrived, her radiant spirit breaking through the fading light. Eldrin, she called out, her voice melodic as it threaded through the stillness of the garden. Look, I've brought some lanterns for tonight's gathering. He turned, a genuine smile breaking through his brooding thoughts. Leora's enthusiasm was always contagious, and he felt a familiar warmth swell within him. They're beautiful, he said as she unfurled the paper lanterns, each one adorned with intricate patterns and colors, designed to reflect a kaleidoscope of dreams. Tonight will be special, she announced, placing the lanterns strategically around the garden. We're inviting the villagers to share their dreams under the stars. We'll talk about love, acceptance, and the beauty within every person. Especially how love goes beyond mere appearances. Eldrin nodded, a flicker of excitement mingling with the lingering tension in his heart. You know, I've been thinking about that a lot. About how hard it is to break those barriers, to be seen as more than just a giant. Leora paused, her expression shifting to one of understanding. It's true that we all carry our own fears and insecurities. But this is our chance to show the village that we're more than what they see first. We have to embrace our true selves and let that light shine. As night began to fall, the sky transformed into a canopy of deep indigo, speckled with shimmering stars. Villagers trickled into the garden, initially hesitant, but the glow of the lanterns illuminated their path like beacons of hope. Eldrin felt a rush of nerves, but Leora's vibrant determination bolstered his spirit. Welcome, everyone. Leora called, her eyes sparkling like the stars above. Tonight, we celebrate our dreams, our uniqueness, and the love that binds us as a community. Eldrin stepped forward, feeling the ground beneath him solidify with purpose. Thank you all for being here. Love, he said, voice steadying, is not defined by size or appearance. We all have something beautiful to offer, and I hope we can learn to embrace that together. The villagers gathered, their initial uncertainty giving way to curiosity. One by one, they began to share their dreams, some whimsical, others deeply personal. A young girl spoke of wanting to be an artist, while an elder shared a hope for peace in their village. The stories flowed like a river, with laughter and tears mingling, weaving together a tapestry of resilience and vulnerability. Eldrin listened intently, feeling the warmth of acceptance wash over him. Each shared dream was another petal unfurling, revealing the beauty of their spirits. As the villagers poured their hearts out, Eldrin began to see how their connections could shatter the unspoken barriers, and he felt the seeds of camaraderie taking root in the garden. Then, amid the stories, a voice trembled through the night. It belonged to a villager named Harlan, who stood at the fringes, peering in with uncertainty. I have a dream, he stuttered, his eyes flicking nervously between Eldrin and Leora. But, he hesitated, fear etching lines on his brow. What if it's not worth sharing? Every dream is worth sharing, Leora encouraged gently, stepping forward to bridge the distances. Love knows no bounds, and neither do our dreams. Please join us. Taking a deep breath, Harlan stepped closer, courage surging through him. I want to be a musician. But, he glanced at Eldrin nervously. I've always felt like I didn't belong. I thought I'd be judged, that no one would see the value in it. There was a pause, a moment where hope shimmered in the air. Then Eldrin spoke, his voice resonating with sincerity. I once felt the same way. But it was in sharing my journey and dreams with all of you that I found a sense of belonging. Your music, your voice, it matters. It can inspire others. Harlan's shoulders relaxed slightly, allowing the weight of fear to ease. With emerging confidence, he began to talk about his dream to compose melodies that evoked emotions, that connected people through music. Eldrin felt the air pulsate with a shared understanding, the realization that their fears were not insurmountable, that together they could redefine what it meant to be seen, heard, and loved. They caught echoes of validation each time a villager dared to peel back the layers of vulnerability. As the gathering continued, Leora gently guided them into song, an impromptu celebration of their collective dreams. They harmonized, the sound rising like a gentle breeze, wrapping around Eldrin like a warm embrace. He closed his eyes, feeling the music swell, a perfect backdrop for the garden's magic to unfold. Under the starlit sky, something miraculous blossomed. The lanterns glowed brighter, reflecting the newfound warmth between them. Eldrin raised his voice, letting the vibrations of love and acceptance envelop him. Let this garden be our safe haven, a reflection of who we are, beyond what the eyes can see. As the evening drew to a close, villagers slowly made their way home, hearts lighter, spirits lifted. Eldrin felt a sense of belonging bloom inside him, watering the seeds of connection sown throughout the night. Leora lingered beside him, her heart brimming with pride. You saw them, didn't you? They embraced their own beauty tonight. Eldrin nodded, joy illuminating his features. I never thought I could feel this way. This garden is more than I ever envisioned. Together, we forged something extraordinary, Leora said, her voice soft and unwavering. Love defies appearances. It grows from nurturing connections and celebrating differences. As he gazed at the lanterns, casting light upon the Garden of Dreams, Eldrin realized that love, boundless and pure, had woven a tapestry of acceptance, transforming their sanctuary into a testament to resilience. In embracing each other's stories, they had created a space where everyone could feel at home. From that day forward, the whispers of doubt faded like wisps of fog, replaced by the vibrant harmonies that echoed in their hearts, a reminder that love always triumphs when it blooms boldly, unafraid to defy the limits set by the world. Did you enjoy this video? If so, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to join us for more amazing stories every day. Here at Daily Anything History, there's always something new to discover. See you in the next video.